Ready? Okay, the Mutt Mongrel has a 14-litre fuel tank capacity as well as a 4-stroke engine, giving it 11 horsepower. It's built in Birmingham with parts sourced from China, but makes it a lot more trustworthy. The bike itself has an amazing set of controls with a pass light specifically for passing, high beam, dip beam, and basically all the other controls you'd expect on a regular bike. The actual ignition switch itself also has a park light, so that when you're parked, your rear brake light and your headlamp are just on, and they're not using a lot of battery because it's not actually running the main motor. The fuel tank itself, with its 14-litre capacity, lasted me about 2 months on one fuel, filling it up to the top, 200 miles, and it wasn't out. The only issue I've had so far with this bike was in the cold, and I will give it the benefit of the doubt. It was very cold, it had frosted over and gone white. The little screen would come up, but it would not make a noise starting. People coming. I will let them pass. The bike itself feels amazing to ride, and the parts themselves too feel very high quality, which I'd hope so, considering it cost me 3.2 grand. The seat is a very faux leather feeling. It's kind of squidgy, but also very firm. It kind of breaks as you use it. I've again had it for 2 months, and it's still quite firm, but it's not as uncomfortable to ride as it was when I first started riding it. It's very comfortable to ride in the sun. It's very smooth. The engine, the rattling from the engine as you're sat on the seat is very minor, unless you hit a big pothole, in which case it hurts quite a lot. The suspension is quite nice. I mean, you can't really see it from me pushing it down. It probably doesn't help that I'm only pushing down one side, but it's a very smooth suspension. Riding it in the rain is a little more sketchy. Again, I haven't quite broken in the tires yet, so it's quite slippy, but it does feel a lot more stable than anything that I've used in the past. I don't feel like I'm going to go sliding off the second I take a turn. I feel a lot more comfortable on roundabouts specifically as well. The turning circle on this is amazing. You don't have to lean that much, and so it's a very comfortable thing to take very sharp turns around. The factory settings for the brakes themselves are quite nice. There's not a lot of moving space, maybe about 2 centimeters, an inch of moving the handlebar brake, which I quite like. I find that's a very nice amount to have to move it. I don't have to pull it in really far and let go a lot to stop braking. The same with the clutch. This one pulls in all the way, which I quite like because I can hold that to the handlebar. It's very sturdy. It feels very sturdy. I'm not going to accidentally let go. One massive issue I have had with this bike is the headlamp itself. As much as I love the little grating design on the front, it's quite dim. Even on the dip beam, I can't see anything at night, and I have to have full beams the entire time, which kind of sucks. If I want to signal to another driver, I can't. It's not amazing. Probably switch it out to an LED at some point with a warm orange glow to it. In terms of on-bike storage, there's not a lot of options. I mean, I've got these saddlebags here. They don't really fit, and I'm contemplating taking them off because they kind of cramp down, and it just doesn't look that great having it dig into the suspension. So your only bet is to really have a backpack on you at all times. Mounting options for phones and other little things that you might modify onto the bike, there's quite a lot. There's a very nice amount of handlebar real estate up on the top, on the sides and in the center. So there's a lot of places to put your phone or a switch or whatever you really want to. The handlebar grips themselves are very nice. They've got this diamond shape on them, and they're not perfectly circular. It's kind of more hexagonal in the way it goes around. When wearing gloves, it's very comfortable. Even without gloves, right now, this feels really nice to just hold. I don't notice my hands aching at all when I'm holding these handlebars. They are quite small, but they're big enough to fit my entire hand on and not have it overhang. The fuel port on the fuel tank itself is in a bit of an odd place. It's more on the right side rather than in the middle, which isn't a bad thing. This doesn't have a center stand, so put down on the kickstand, now it's facing up. However, if you want to get a tank bag for it, probably not going to find one, because not a lot of bikes have their fuel port on the right hand side, and a lot of them just have them in the center. Overall, for the price tag of 3.2 grand, I'd say it's quite a nice bike for beginners. It's very much so on the high end and not something cheap like Facebook Marketplace or even the lower end that a lot of bike shops sell. You can hit a top of 70 miles an hour, 11 horsepower, and then a month of fuel for £5. It's definitely a bike that I'd recommend. 100% would buy again if I had to for whatever reason, which I hope I don't have to, because again, it's still a lot of money to spend on a bike.